So taking a look at the left of the screen, we have the Wordle.net website. And of all the things that I show people, the Wordle is something that usually sticks with everyone. It has various documents out on the website, such as the Constitution, most common crossword answers. But to create a Wordle yourself, you just click on the Create button, and you copy a bunch of text. And in this case, I'm going to copy all 4,320 words that we received as part of our keyword list. Hit the Allow button, and within a second or two, you get a Wordle. So if you don't like this, you can hit Randomize, and it gives you a variety of options. And the key here is it's going to be showing you the top words that are being used. Now, what I like to do, though, is to then take a look at the difference over time. So the goal is to see how are words changing. Are they getting more in volume? Are they less in volume? What are some of the new words that are showing up on the list that might be interesting to take a look at? And it may just, point to a process issue or just something about the process that's new and interesting. So in looking at these two graphics, I've created two time frames of how are the keywords showing up in each time frame. You'll notice that the error word is showing up maybe about double or a little bit bigger, a lot bigger. The gift word also is getting quite bigger, so you may want to look at that. And what I find interesting is if you scroll out on these graphics, you could actually see that variance a lot quicker. Looking at it in a small fashion, your eye has a chance of getting its eyes around it, if you will, as opposed to it in a larger form. Now, looking up at the data itself, that is true. When you look in these two columns here, you'll notice gift went from 52 to 92, error went from 24 to 45, and that can be very readily seen in these graphs. And therefore, what I like about Wordles, especially in looking over time, is a lot of times just looking at the words like this allows you to see some change or see something that you wouldn't have normally seen when you're looking at this table of data and getting very confused by it. So that's the Wordle. So now we've taken a look at how to make word charts, and we talked before about how you could relate keywords to the dictionary of words, and there's no reason why you can't do that to your own words. Now, the Caesar Cipher talks a little bit more about the pattern of letters and what is expected, and you can take a look at this video at your leisure, but it's a great video, and it's about 2 minutes and really walks through this concept. But let's take a look at this in Excel. So now in Excel, what I did was I took a couple of actual data files and took a look at the vendor name that's showing up in an invoice table. So took every word in the vendor name, and then also every letter, or let's say first letter, in the vendor name in a supplier master file, and then related that to a dictionary of words in the middle. But really all I wanted to focus on here is, instead of looking at all the percentages like we did before with dictionary, what we could now do is just look at the actual and expected rank, 1 through 26. So, in this case here, the actual rank was 1, and the expected rank was 1 for the letter C. C is the most occurring letter and in the dictionary that I was using. And the second one being A, and etc. And you notice here that what's interesting is when you look at the actual data, it kind of lines up pretty well. So looking at that in charts down below, and just looking at the ranking of letters, you can start to see where there are certain rankings that are great differences between the two. Now, the one on the left has the expected rank in red and the actual in blue, so you could kind of see where your actual is in relation. And then on the right, I did another one where I had the actual rank in blue and the expected in red. So that's normally how we do things. We'll graph kind of a trend line and then the actuals around it, but I wanted to show it two different ways. And my only point of showing all of this is that you should be looking at your patterns of actual to expected, and expected could be the dictionary like we're using here, but I think even just using last period's data is even more interesting. So to expand on that further, I wanted to start taking a look at a different type of chart, which is the scatter graph. Now, as bar and line charts, as we were showing, are really good for things like the dictionary changes in volume, keyword changes in volume, etc. The scatter graph is great at showing volume to value differences, so you could get both perspectives in one. So let's take a look at that in Excel. Taking a look at this list of numbers, we can see that we have over on the left-hand side the word, gift, bribe, etc. And then the occurrences or volume of that word are showing up in green. And we have period 1, and then let's say last period over on the right here. Then the value is in blue. So now just scrolling in a little bit more into this data part right here, what I'm looking at here is the difference between time. So between the gift, bribe, fraud, etc. What is the difference in value this year to last year, and volume? Now that can then be thrown into a chart here, which is our value to volume difference. And what might be interesting is to look not only at words that are showing up in a higher quantity, which is in this first axis, but also from a value perspective as well. So anything in this top right quadrant would really be something to take a look at. Obviously, anything that is of a much lower value and also lower in use, it may be something that we're just not using it as much this period, but in the last period we had a bit of a problem. So I really feel that kind of the top right and bottom left sections of the scatter graph are the best to take a look at. In the variation of your word usage, which again could be your keyword usage, or it could just be words in general that are being used in an accounts payable file. What I've been doing recently is pulling together a lot of this information about words and the ranking of particular words this year to last year, and just taking a look at what are those words that are a bit concerning to me because they are showing up a lot more this year versus last year, or let's say from a value perspective have also risen high. And because of that, I can start to identify those words that have the most interesting nature to them and align them to the people that are entering those words. So enter, business partner, department are the people, and I can relate based on a score who are those people that are throwing off a lot more of these types of strange word and letter combinations. So the ultimate kind of benefit of having a score is to be able to mathematically calculate risk a lot better than you normally would, where normally you might be more judgmental or just pick a few words that really kind of jumped out at you. But by looking at kind of patterns over time, patterns to the dictionary, etc., you can more mathematically calculate the sampling unit, and in a lot of ways kind of kill more birds with one stone. You can start to identify a particular person because they're showing up on a letter difference type of an analysis and a word difference analysis and another one, and that's the reason you pick them. Now what I even do is try to integrate then that type of score, the word score, with other types of scores, such as is it a round number, is it posted on a weekend, and give a score to those as well. Goal here is to get the best sample possible, and by mathematically calculating the words together, you have a much better chance of doing that.